Hi everyone, we are Fidel and
Nikki.
Today we're going to talk about a very important issue. We're going to talk about corporal punishments, If you've gone to any type of school in Nigeria, be it nursery, primary, secondary school, you're definitely not a stranger to corporal punishment. It is the order of the day in most Nigerian schools. The student misbehaves, the teacher flogs the student with a cane. Now, this is a very, very, very bad issue. It is sad that in the world of today, we still resort to such measures, when raising our children, despite all that, researches have shown.
Yeah.
Studies and studies and studies after studies, researches after researches have shown that this type of treatment is not good for children. It harms them not only physically, psychologically as well.
Yeah.
So, in Nigeria, they take it so far. In about 53 countries of the world, corporal punishment is banned in any form, In the United States, there's no federal law, about it. It all boils down to the states. Some states, like most southern states, like Georgia, they still allow mild corporal punishment.
When you say mild, at least it's just a tap, right?
Yeah, like a tap. The child is misbehaving, you tap him on the, hey, stop that, you restrain him, those are considered mild corporal.
But in Nigeria, they
no,
the child to
that's a far cry. What they do from Nigeria is totally different. That would be considered abuse in the United States,
Yes.
But even at that, even that mild corporal punishment is banned in most of the states in America. States like California, any form of corporal punishment is banned. You have no right to, use any type of physical or force against someone else's child.
Yes.
So, if you've gone to school in Nigeria, you know what we're talking about. Some teachers, oh my goodness, they take it too far,
Yeah.
I remember one of the teachers in my secondary school, I don't want to say his name, even though I feel the urge to, because I'm angry, when I remember stuff he did. I didn't get a lot of corporal punishment because of my demeanor, But, I know some of my friends, there's this teacher, I don't want to say his full name or his real name. We nicknamed him Batik.
Wow.
That's what we called him because he was a fine arts teacher. But this guy was an abuser.
Wow.
I wish I can run into him now that I'm a full-fledged adult. I wish I can run into him. I'm gonna sit him down and have a talk with him. Stuff he did, it was too much. I remember one time he beat my friend so much that he had blisters all over his body. To the extent that the female teachers started telling him, no, this is too much. Now, you couldn't have, If you can't control yourself when you're upset, if you have to pour your anger on students in that manner, you are not qualified to be a teacher. You have anger issues.
Yes.
Deal with your personal issues. Don't take it out on students and claim that you're, punishing them. I'm sure even in your schools.
Yes, I had my own personal experience. In the morning they usually do this assembly, right? So our assembly at school starts 8 o'clock. I remember one day it was like 5 or 10 minutes late. So this teacher asked us to kneel down with my friend Angela. So he asked us to kneel down. We knelt down. We were there till after the assembly. All the students went inside and this teacher came and he would ask us to hold our skirts because I hold our skirts so tight and he will be spanking us on the butt.
Now that goes beyond
punishment.
That goes beyond punishment. He's a pervert. How are you sure he's not getting
Getting some kind
any
of
kind of
pleasure.
sexual
Yeah.
pleasure from it.
Yes.
No
Yes.
father will tell his daughter to hold your skirt
skirt.
tight. I saw that in primary school.
And
Yeah, they
teachers will
did it.
spank them.
Hold your skirt tight, and
And
then
they
the teacher will take a
cane
cane
and
and
be
be
spanking
hitting
you
the
on your
girl
butt.
on the butt.
That's not
That
okay.
is totally unacceptable. You know, even in the United States, I don't care the state you're in, that will not be allowed.
Yeah, you know, then they think, or back home and they think it's normal, it's okay. That is not normal.
It's
That's
not normal.
okay.
But
It's not okay.
it's sad that some people in the world of today still, you know, advocates for it, you know. You know, let's talk about some of the arguments they make in favor of it, and let's quickly go through them to see whether it holds any water, you know.
Okay. So the pros, they said, is good when used in moderation.
When used in moderation, yeah, moderation is the key. But then, how do you draw the line between moderation and the excessive use of it? You know, so why use it at all when you know teachers are not trained specifically how to use corporal punishment? You know, so you don't assume that they will use it in moderation. You know, they go overboard with it. They end up hurting the students. You know. I mean, in moderation, it depends on what you mean by moderation. But why resort to violence? Why resort to force? We are human beings. You are there to teach a child to grow into a full-fledged human being who controls his emotions, resorts to reasoning. You know, when you know when he faces conflict, he can sit down with his opponent and they talk it out. They reason it out like adults. You know, why resort to
force and
you teach children such treatment in school, and you expect them to grow up and become responsible adults. You know. So
the second thing they always say is that it motivates children to behave.
Well, yeah, momentarily, I say, temporarily.
But that's fear.
But that's fear.
Yeah.
Fear never brings a long-lasting change, you know. You are there to teach the student, you are there to teach him to become a responsible adult, right? The change is not to force him to do something just because you're there, to do something out of fear.
And also at the moment.
And once you turn around, once you leave, he does
something else. Yeah.
Fear never, the fear, whatever you use, whatever type of fear that keeps you in line has to be there constantly for you to be in line.
Yes.
Once you remove that element of fear, the individual resorts back to the original behavior.
Yeah.
So that's why corporal punishment doesn't work. If you're holding a cane in class, yes, they are afraid, they are gonna behave. But what happens when they get home, when they go home and nobody's holding a cane? What happens the moment you walk out of that class? So that's why you need a teacher knows how to talk to students, reason with them, let them see the need for them to stop this behavior.
Yes.
That is for their best interest. So even when nobody is around, they know that this is the way to behave. I'm doing this for myself, not because somebody is breathing down on my neck with a big cane.
Yeah. Some teacher also said that some students, they choose it over suspension.
Yeah. Some studies, they did a study one time, asking students, would you rather be suspended or would you rather get spanked? Some students chose, corporal punishment over being, sent home or exposed, But the thing is that doesn't make sense. The fact that children chose something doesn't make it right, I mean, that's why they're in school. That's why they are children. You're there to teach them how to make the right decisions. You don't base your actions based on the choices or decisions that children made. Ask them whether they would rather eat candy every day than study. They will choose candy. Does that mean we should start giving them candy?
No.
So that argument doesn't hold any water at all. The fact that some children chose it over, though it doesn't make it right. So that argument makes absolutely no sense.
The other funny one they always say is religious reason. They say spare the rod and spoil the
That
child.
is crazy. That is. I actually argued with somebody about that, on Facebook. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Now, this is part of the reason why there's so much confusion in
that's the Bible verse everybody in Nigeria knows.
That's why, there are so many countless religions across the world, because, people read these scriptures. I think I wrote something about it on Facebook one time. People read these scriptures. They are not able to understand that some of these are metaphors. They take it literal, and then it causes a lot of misunderstanding. Spare the rod. The rod doesn't necessarily mean a cane. You can also punish a child by depriving him of certain privileges. You can punish a child by putting him or her on timeout. That way you are not sparing the rod. The rod of correction doesn't necessarily have to be a rod or a cane. Being firm with your children, being strict, standing your grounds and telling them this is right, this is wrong. You are not sparing the rod in any way, And also, even if that's what it means, even if it literally means, to take rods and hit your children, there are for any Bible verse that you quote from me, I can also give you another verse that counteracts it, that counters it, because if you know the Bible very well, you know that every verse has another verse that speaks against it, so you don't base that. Okay, then the same Bible said that they were about to stone the woman they caught in adultery, and Christ said, if you've never sinned, throw the first stone. So doesn't that show you that it's wrong to harm somebody, to punish somebody in such a manner? So that doesn't make any sense. But you've now listed the arguments they make in favor of it. Now let's talk about the arguments against it.
These kind of treatments leave a long-lasting mental harm.
Yes. Researches have shown that they leave long-lasting mental harm. And that's the thing with Nigeria. We don't take mental... I've never seen a Nigerian talk about going to see a therapist or, talk about being depressed or stuff. As long as you are not totally naked and running around the street, they consider you sane. The only people they call insane are the people that are running around naked, in the street. But, a lot of people are scared. A lot of people, they have mental issues because of the things they've gone through. And we consider in Nigeria, they consider them normal until they do something totally crazy, or they commit suicide. Now, think about, I read about a girl in girls' school in Kenya. They found her dead, and they were investigating. Some people were saying, it's most likely more suicide. How do you know? It could be suicide from depression. Could be from what she's going through. Could be from this excessive bullying. Could also have died during corporal punishment, and the school is trying to cover it
and
up.
That brings us to the second point that I want to say, that it creates an unsafe and a violent school environment for the children.
Yes, it does. And back to the mental harm. Just because a physical wounds healed doesn't mean the mental wounds have healed. You beat somebody to the extent that he has blisters all over his body, he's screaming, crying, 3 months later all the scars are gone physically. He's seemingly behaving right, but you don't know what is going on in the mind. You don't know. Because, one professor here in the United States, right, during my university years, right, one professor, we told me, based on his experience, with the Nigerian students he has taught, in the past, none of them Nigerians are very good students, but they are never the first to run to the professor during his office hours to have a one-on-one with the professor. And I asked him, what do you think? Why do you think that is? He said, oh, I know why. It's because of the way they treat you guys in primary and secondary school. Because in Nigeria you don't see your teachers as your friend. You see them as, better be careful. You ask a question, you ask a wrong question in class, they say, that's a stupid question. Nail down here. Only in America, I heard there's nothing like a stupid question. The professor will tell you, whatever you have in mind, ask it. There's nothing like a stupid question. I remember my physicist, oh my goodness. Ask him a question, are you crazy?
So yeah,
kneel down. You should have known that by now. So in class, you'll be so scared, know.
Yes.
That's totally a far cry from what I see our kids, the way they talk about their teachers in school, and the way I related with my professors. My university education was here in the United States. I had very good relationships with my professors, which to me, before I came to the United States, I would consider them a little bit. That's kind of too much. You're joking with a professor.
Yeah.
I mean, your teacher. You should be saying, yes, sir, yes, sir. But it creates now that ties into the second point you raised. It creates an unsafe environment. It makes the school environment hostile.
Yes. So the third point that I have is a wrong example. That bad role model.
Yeah, the teachers become bad role models.
Yeah,
they set bad examples.
Yes, make the children become bad role model. Even the teacher themselves that is showing this bad behavior also a bad role model.
You're teaching the child that this is how to handle conflict. If somebody disagrees with you, you use force. The student misbehaves in class. You bring out a cane, kneel down there and you start, flogging the student. Now you are teaching the student when he becomes an adult, if to get his way, he can resort to force or physical violence.
Yes.
That's why people end up becoming, it ties into the fact and contributes to the reason why people end up becoming rapists.
It's true. And also I think even those Nigerian courts,
that's exactly what Boko Haram is. You want attention, you cannot sit down and articulately, put your point across. We sit down and dialogue with you. The only way to get attention is by force. Kill somebody, kidnap people, hold them by force. That's exactly what teachers do to students in primary, secondary schools.
Yes.
And then you expect them to grow up and become gentlemen. How can they become gentlemen?
I don't think it's possible because that's what they've been
learning. That's what they see. You've shown them that this is how to get your way.
Yeah. So also, my final point, I think it affects academic performance. Of course.
You and I read about that study they did, states in the United States that allow corporal punishment, even though the extent in United States is very mild. Yet, despite that, the states that allows corporal punishment, they do worse than other states. The states that don't allow it do better in tests. The test scores. It's wrong in all levels. We're not just talking about what goes on in the schools, also what goes on at homes. Some parents, although a good parent will never go overboard. You love your children, even though you might spank them, but you're never gonna go to the extent of inflicting visible wound.
Yeah.
No father will tell the daughter, hold your skirt tight so that I'll hit you in the butt. That has to me, such a man is a pervert.
I think there is a mild way to when a child misbehaves to, handle children instead of the spanking or the beating.
Exactly.
Like you said, time out,
Time
or
out.
even
Deprive
having
them of privileges.
yeah, or even having
So
a
even at
conversation,
home, even
yeah.
at home, if you use corporal punishment at home, we advise you, we suggest that you try other means. It doesn't work.
No.
Researches and studies after studies have shown that it doesn't work. It leaves children psychologically damaged.
True.
So try reward, punishment and reward works a lot.
Yes.
The child does good. Oh, very good. I reward you with this. He misbehaves. You know what? I'm gonna take away this privilege. That's what we do with our kids. Oh, you got an A in this. Here, this
reward.
Is your reward. Remember, at the end of the semester, for each A you get this. Oh, okay. You misbehave. You did this. Okay, give me your phone. Then my son will, come on, Dad, give me your phone. I'll take the phone. He may not see his phone for the next 3 days, until he realizes. And before I give it to him, I sit down and talk with him. Have you realized what you did wrong? How would you handle it the next time?
Yeah. Yeah, having a one-on-one conversation with your children is always the best. That creates a good relationship. So whenever a child is going through abuse at school or any other, any form of violence at school, he or she will have the free mind to come and discuss with the parents. Because some kids can't tell their parents.
Yeah, encourage your kids to talk to you. If they get abused in school, if they get bullied, be it a teacher or another student that bullies them, go to that school and make sure it stopped.
Yes.
Make sure, don't let that continue.
Yes.
Encourage your children to be free to tell you everything. And also pay attention to your kids when they start being moody, start behaving certain ways. Probably because in the United States, whenever a child starts bullying other children, they call their parents. Sometimes they even send investigators to the home to see if the child is being bullied at home. Because when anybody that is violent is either going through violence or has gone through violence.
Back then,
violence begets violence.
Yes. What I wanted to add to this, honey, is back in Nigeria, I used to hear my parents' neighbor will curse their kid. Those curse is not all.
Well, that's another issue for another day. We're gonna do another video because the words you speak, it has power.
It has power.
You're their parents. The words you speak, the word. It doesn't just end there. It takes it affects the child.
It affects the child.
You don't bully your child that way.
Don't bully your child.
Whatever you do, it's okay to be strict. We are very strict parents. It's okay to be strict. It's okay to, punish your child by, deprivation of privileges, But you don't deprive the child of certain things that it's necessary that he must have. Like food. You never deprive your children of food. Clothing, shelter.
Water.
These are what they need. These are you gotta provide that for them. But stuff like their toys,
TV
time, cell phone, stuff like that you can deprive. So one other thing, do you know that in the United States, in all states of the United States, it's against the law to use corporal punishment on your animal, any animal. If they catch you spanking a dog, the neighbor will call the cops. You go to jail for spanking your. That's animal cruelty. So now, my question to those that advocate corporal punishment, so you guys believe it's okay not to punish animals that way, but it's okay to punish human children that way. So are you saying that humans are worth less than animals, or what?
That's the question you have to think.
What are you trying to tell me? People are funny, This world is really, it's just like racism, but we're gonna go into that as another video. You see somebody a dog owner, he loves his dog so much,
Pets his dog so
pets
much.
his dog.
Yeah.
His dog could be black or white. He
He
doesn't
don't
care.
matter.
But when he sees a
another
fellow
color,
human being that is black or white,
he start acting weird. Like, what's wrong with you?
we human beings are funny, really, And it's not only, today's racism is not only a particular race. Don't say white people are racist or no.
Black people.
There are racists across all people.
Yes.
I've seen racist black people. I've seen racist white people. I've seen white people that are as far from racism as heaven is from earth,
Yeah, so that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe to our channel. Invite your friends and family to like our video. If you have any comments, any suggestion, addition, any concern, please put it in the comment section below and we will reply. Thank you again for watching our video, and bye.